talk English.
She literally died laughing. He literally couldn't stop talking. That was literally the worst movie I've ever seen.
I mean, if you just listen to that, it sounds like a highly dangerous, exhausting world to live in.
Right, like if you take a step back and analyze those statements from a purely logical perspective, no one actually died from a joke.
Hopefully not, yeah.
And the guy, presumably, eventually paused to take a breath at some point.
Yeah.
And was that film really empirically the worst piece of cinema ever produced in human history? Probably not.
Right, it's highly unlikely.
But you hear these phrases constantly. And if you are, taking them at face value, it kind of feels like a trick.
It totally does. You hear the word, you trust the word, and then you realize the speaker meant the exact opposite of what the word actually means.
Exactly. So, welcome to the paradox of American casual English, where the word literally means, well, absolutely nothing and absolutely everything.
It really is a fascinating linguistic puzzle. So today we are taking a stack of linguistic notes, vocabulary research, and real-world examples to decode one of the most overused, misunderstood, and honestly polarizing words in modern English.
Oh, absolutely. It's so polarized.
It really is. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack how a highly precise adverb turned into this chaotic emotional intensifier. And more importantly, we want to give you, the listener, the tools to understand it and use it to sound incredibly natural in your own conversations.
So let's unpack this, because for you listening, especially if you're an advanced learner navigating English, trying to keep up with casual American speech patterns, this word is a total landmine.
Oh, 100%.
You can study the dictionary definition all day, but the moment you step out into the real world, the rules just seem to vanish.
They evaporate. But to understand why Americans use literally so wildly today, we really have to first establish what it was built to do in the first place.
Right, the original baseline.
Exactly. The factual original meaning of literally is, well, in a literal sense, exactly as stated, without any exaggeration. It is the direct, hardline opposite of the word figuratively.
Right. It's meant to be a tool for absolute precision. It's basically the linguistic equivalent of a ruler.
That's a great way to put it. And we have some great source examples for this. Like, if a teacher hands you a poem in Spanish and says, translate this literally.
They are giving you a very specific, uncompromising instruction.
Right. They are telling you to translate it word for word. Don't capture the vibe. Don't give me the poetic essence. Don't try to make it rhyme in English. Just give me the exact meaning.
Or, take the sentence, he literally ran 5 miles. Because if I just say he ran 5 miles, you might think I'm estimating.
Sure, maybe it was 4.2, or maybe he walked some of it.
Right, maybe I'm rounding up to make him sound impressive.
Yes.
But if I add that word, he literally ran 5 miles. I am confirming the fact. Like, I tracked it on a GPS watch. It was exactly 5 miles.
The word is there to completely remove doubt.
Which is incredibly useful. We need words that function as anchors in reality. But then, we step out of the textbook and into a modern American coffee shop.
And that precise ruler has been snapped in half and set on fire.
Literally set on fire. Wait, no, figuratively set on fire. See, the chaos is contagious?
It really is. The modern chaos of how Americans actually use this word is wild. We use it as a hyperbolic intensifier to just make a phrase hit harder. Let's look at some of the vivid examples we gathered.
Oh, these are great.
I'm literally dying of embarrassment.
You are not dying. Your vital signs are perfectly stable.
This coffee is literally life.
Unless that coffee is a biological organism capable of cellular division, no, it isn't.
He literally never stops talking. Or that test was literally impossible.
The test was sitting right there on the desk. You took it.
Yeah.
It was possible.
And the classic, the absolute peak of this, I literally can't even.
I just love the grammatical absurdity of that last one. It's beautiful.
Right.
Because yes, you can, in fact, you are fully capable of evening.
Right, but we use it to say we are so overwhelmed that we lack the capacity to process the situation.
Exactly, like I'm literally just so done.
Well, I'm literally dead from how done I am.
I am literally being brought back to life just to be done again.
It's just a game of escalation, but the big question is, why? How did we go from translate this exact word to I literally can't even?
Right, so what is the vocabulary concept behind this?
It's a fascinating concept in linguistics called semantic shift. This happens when a word's meaning changes over time strictly through usage. Language isn't a museum piece sitting behind glass. It evolves to serve the needs of the people speaking it.
And one of our biggest human needs is emotional emphasis.
Exactly. When speakers feel intensely about something, they intuitively reach for the absolute strongest language available to convey that feeling.
I like to compare words to batteries. When a new intensifier enters the language, it's fully charged. It has a ton of shock value.
Right.
But the more we use it, the more the battery drains. Words like very, and really, they used to pack a huge punch centuries ago. But today,
They're completely drained.
exactly. Very is a dead battery. If I tell you I was very mad, it almost sounds polite. It does not capture the rage.
No, it doesn't at all. Those words aren't strong enough anymore, so speakers reached up to the very top shelf for the strongest, most absolute word they could find to fill that gap.
And literally it was sitting right there.
It was the most uncompromising word available, and here is where we get into some historical validation from the sources that just completely reframes this whole conversation.
Oh, this is the best part. Because when people complain about this usage and they complain loudly, they almost always blame modern technology.
Oh yeah, they blame the internet, they blame reality TV, they call it a modern corruption of Gen Z slang.
But this isn't a new phenomenon at all, is it?
Not even a little bit. Literally has been used as a dramatic intensifier since the 18th century. We have documented proof. Charles Dickens, one of the most celebrated authors in the English language, used it this way.
Wait, really? Charles Dickens?
Yes. And F. Scott Fitzgerald used it this way in The Great Gatsby. Gatsby is described as literally glowing.
He wasn't radioactive.
No, he wasn't emitting actual light. Fitzgerald was using it as a hyperbolic intensifier to show Gatsby's intense emotional state.
That completely wrecks the argument that this is just teenagers on the internet ruining the language.
Totally wrecks it.
We've been doing this for hundreds of years. The battery has been draining for a long time.
It has. The human impulse to exaggerate for dramatic effect is timeless, and since literally is just the absolute peak of this emotional emphasis right now, we should probably zoom out and look at the entire tool belt.
Right, the spectrum of intensifiers Americans use to add weight to their words.
Because grammatically, an intensifier is just a word used to make another word stronger, and literally acts as an adverb, modifying a verb, an adjective, or another adverb.
But psychologically, they serve totally different social purposes. You don't use a sledgehammer to hang a picture frame. Let's walk through this spectrum, starting with the mild tier.
The mild softeners. Things like kind of, sort of, a bit, or a little, like saying, I'm a little nervous, or that was kind of awkward.
It feels almost defensive,
Yeah.
like you're trying not to overcommit.
It's a social buffer. You're testing the waters without taking a strong stance. If you tell someone their idea is kind of confusing, you're just softening the blow.
Right.
And we should note that it somewhat belongs in this mild tier, but it's largely reserved for more formal, written English. You wouldn't typically be at a casual party and say, the dip is somewhat spicy.
No, you'd say it's a little spicy. That makes perfect sense. Then you step up to the moderate level.
Yeah.
This is where those dead batteries live.
Right. Words like, really, like that was really impressive.
And we have pretty, used informally. Like, that was pretty good. It's funny how pretty shifted, too. We use it to mean moderately now. If I say a movie was pretty good, I actually mean it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad.
A quick note on quite here, too. Quite sits in this moderate space, but it is much more common in British English than American English. Americans understand it, obviously, but it's not our go-to conversational tool.
Good to know. Okay, so if you want to turn the dial up and get into serious emphasis, that's the strong tier.
That's where very lives, which is standard but slightly formal. Then you have extremely, which gives you strong formal emphasis. Incredibly, which is strong but slightly informal.
And absolutely, as in, that was absolutely fantastic.
Which sounds like something a boss would say in a performance review.
Exactly. It's strong, but it's polite. It wears a suit. But the sources highlight this entirely separate top tier that is just pure hyperbole.
Deliberate exaggeration for effect. This is very casual territory. It leans heavily Gen Z, but honestly, everyone uses it now.
Yeah, aside from literally, Americans reach for words like insanely. That burger was insanely good. I use that one all the time.
Wait, but that's not what it means. The burger did not lose its mind.
No, it was just tasty.
Right.
But insanely just hits harder.
Or wildly. That meeting was wildly unproductive.
I love that one. It paints a picture of people swinging from the ceiling fans during a PowerPoint.
And then there's ridiculously. The coffee was ridiculously expensive.
And using honestly as an opener, honestly, that was the best trip of my life.
The escalation here is just fascinating. The difference between the polite, mild tier, I'm a little nervous, and the hyperbolic tier, I'm literally dying of anxiety is massive.
It shows how conversational American English thrives on drama, high emotion.
It really highlights a deeply human need for storytelling. We don't just want to relay information. We want to make the listener feel the intensity of our experience.
And literally isn't a lone offender in this semantic shift. Once you realize that overuse can completely flip an adverb's meaning, you start noticing that adjectives have suffered the exact same fate.
The contagion of semantic shift. Let's break down some of these shifted words, starting with awesome.
I was looking at the history of awesome in the notes, and it originally had this deeply theological, terrifying weight to it.
Right. The original meaning was inspiring awe, overwhelming, staggering wonder. Standing at the edge of the Grand Canyon was awesome. Witnessing a hurricane was awesome.
It was tied to the divine. But today, I used it to describe my lunch. That sandwich is awesome.
Wait, but that's not what it means. You aren't bowing down in wonder to a turkey club with extra mayo.
Exactly. But the mechanism is the same as the intensifiers. Casual enthusiasm dilutes the extreme definition. I want to compliment the sandwich maker, so I use a massive word, and over time, the word just shrinks to fit the sandwich.
It's not just positive words, though. Look at what we do to negative words. Take terrible.
Right, the original meaning of terrible was causing terror. Horrifying. A nightmare scenario. Ivan the Terrible.
But the current meaning is just bad. This traffic is terrible.
But that's not what it means. I am not trembling in fear in my car.
No, you're just annoyed you'll be 5 minutes late. The terror has been scrubbed completely from the word.
Same with amazing. Originally, it meant causing actual amazement or deep wonder. Now it just means impressive. Your haircut is amazing. I'm not bewildered by how the barber achieved it. It just looks nice.
But the most extreme example of this, the one that really models that psychological need for drama, is obsessed.
Oh, this one is so funny. Because originally, obsessed meant an unhealthy mental fixation. It was clinical. It belonged in a psychiatrist's office.
Right, it described a condition.
And now it just means you really like something. I'm obsessed with this show. I'm obsessed with your boots.
Wait, but that's not what it means.
Exactly. It's not a statement about my mental health. It's just enthusiastic approval. But why do we do that? Why pull a clinical term just to say we like some shoes?
It comes back to social validation. We are constantly bombarded with opinions. If you say, I like those boots, it doesn't register. It's flat. By using obsessed, you force the listener to pay attention to your enthusiasm. You're signaling that your taste is passionate.
Okay, so this brings us to the most practical part of this deep dive. Now that you, the listener, understand the theory and the chaos, how do you actually use this in the wild naturally, without sounding silly or unprofessional?
Our sources laid out 5 really grounding practical rules for this.
Let's hear them.
Rule number 1, match the register. You have to read the room. If you are giving formal praise at a corporate event, say, the results were absolutely fantastic. Do not say the results were insanely good. Save the dramatic tear for casual chats.
Makes sense. And closely tied to that is rule number 2, the writing rule.
This is crucial. Never use literally as an intensifier in professional written English. Don't put it in a report. Don't put it in an email.
Right, because without your tone of voice, it doesn't read as fun. It just reads as lazy.
Exactly. Which leads perfectly into rule 3. The spoken rule literally works best spoken, specifically with heavy vocal emphasis.
Like you have to stretch out that first syllable. That was literally the worst.
Yes. The pitch shift lets the listener know you're in on the joke. Without that vocal cue, the irony is completely lost.
Then there's rule number 4. Mix it up. This goes back to the tool belt. If you only ever use literally, you sound robotic. Rotate your intensifiers. Use wildly, use incredibly, give literally a break.
And finally, rule 5. The pause check. Before you use literally in its original factual sense, pause. Ask yourself, is precision actually required here?
Right, because if you say the store is literally around the corner, but it's actually 3 blocks away, you're setting someone up for a frustrating walk.
Exactly.
So let's actually test these concepts. The sources have this game, the literally test. I'll read a sentence and you tell me. Literal or intensifier.
Let's do it.
Sentence 1, she literally ran across the room.
Okay, that one could be both. It's literal if she was walking, heard a noise, and broke into an actual sprint. But it's an intensifier if she just walked over very briskly, and you want to emphasize her speed.
So context is everything there. Okay, sentence 2, he literally disappeared.
Intensifier. Unless stage magic is involved, humans don't dematerialize. He just left the party quickly without saying goodbye. He ghosted.
Right. Sentence 3, That literally changed my life. I feel like this one dances the line.
It does. It depends on the gravity. Moving to a new country. Literal. A really good skincare routine. Intensifier.
I mean, a good moisturizer can alter my path, but I get it. Last one. You literally don't care.
This one is an intensifier. You cannot literally not care. It's not a physical action you measure. The word is just showing that you strongly, aggressively do not care.
So, synthesizing all this for the listener.
The core cultural takeaway is this. Don't take literally, or you'll be constantly confused and worried about your American friends.
Yes, please don't call an ambulance if someone says they are dying of embarrassment.
But dropping it occasionally as an intensifier in casual speech is a great way to signal natural, current American English fluency. Just keep it out of your professional emails.
It's all about knowing the rules so you can break them correctly. But, thinking about that battery analogy, if very and really lost their power,
Yeah.
and now we're using literally so constantly for, like, coffee and traffic, that it's losing its shock value, too.
The battery is draining again.
Exactly. Which leaves me with a final thought for you to mull over. If literally becomes completely powerless, what will the next ultimate intensifier be? Language never stops moving, which means a new dramatic word is probably brewing right now.
It probably is. In some high school hallway or random internet forum, just waiting to become the next heavy hitter.
I am literally terrified to find out what it is, and we want to turn this back over to you. What's a word or phrase in your first language that people use to mean something completely different from its original meaning?
Oh, that's a great question. Every language has semantic shift.
Drop it in the comments. We literally want to know.